Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives from artists, producers, engineers, and other individuals in the music industry. In each episode, we touch on not only what has helped the person succeed, but we also touch on what has shaped them into the person that they are today. I hope you're able to gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you on your own journey to success as well. Let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 235 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today I welcomed a close collaborator of mine. She's a singer-songwriter based in San Jose. Her name is Manny Kay. Me and Manny Kay got connected via BeatStars in 2022. She actually bought one of my beats. We ended up working on a few songs around that time, and we worked on a ton of music since then, just sending beats back and forth and ideas. And we've talked about having her on this show for a while, so it was great to have her on today officially. And we got to dive in more about, how she got into songwriting. She talked about the importances of influences such as Michael Jackson and what his music has meant to her throughout her life. Really just the importance of that. She also talked about, what charity means to her and how she's giving back to the local community through music and just good vibes in general, and how you can get involved. And just really, the intricacies and the ideas that she has. I always admire that she has so many awesome ideas that she's putting into play. And I look forward to just being involved with what she's doing musically and beyond moving forward. And I'm excited to see what she has planned for 2025 as she's working on her next project. So without further ado, let's get into this one. All right, so welcome everyone to episode 235 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. And today we have a really awesome singer-songwriter, someone that I've been connected with now for the past couple years. I think we got connected on BeatStars actually in 2022. We've been working on a lot of music, and I'm happy to have her on the show today because I wanted to have her on here for a while. So everybody, please welcome Manny Kay to the show. How are you doing today?
Good. I am doing well. How are you doing?
Doing great. Like I said, we've had many conversations before, but I think today is kind of a different version of it for this format. And I'm happy to have you here. And we usually have the guest give some background, kind of to kick off the show on how you got into music, and just some basic info for those that might not know you and what you do.
So I've been doing music for about 20 years, just as long as I've been living, and I've been composing music for about 13 years. And over those periods of time, I developed a passion for music, its overall art and its beauty that it holds. I find myself randomly whenever walking or doing random tours throughout the home, I'm just coming up with a melody or coming up with random lyrics. I have to automatically just stop what I'm doing just to go jot it down. Music is just part of me. It's just no matter how many times I want to be I'm done, it's not happening. Yep. So it's a beautiful gift that I can't get rid of, and I very much appreciate.
Yeah. And I know you've told me versions of that story a few times actually about how you kind of got into it and everything. And every time that you tell it, I'm always very impressed with how much it means to you. You know what I mean? Because I could always tell from the beginning that you always have had the joy involved in what you do. And like you said, it's even when it is kind of a pain and it's hard to get rid of, then you wake up one day, the next day, and you're like, wow, I could never really give this up. You know what I mean? Because it just means so much. And I think that's how you're doing what you're supposed to do as well.
Totally.
So that's definitely awesome. And songwriting specifically, I know is a huge thing for you, and something that you care a lot about and something you do a lot of. So from a songwriting perspective, what would you say is your process, and how has your process kind of evolved over the years in songwriting? What does that look like for you?
Growing up, it made it very easy to merge into writing it alone, just in general. But I think the melody aspect, once I started to not just enjoy music, but to understand music, understanding that there's there's pieces to its puzzle. There's things that makes the song it. There's an engineer, there's a producer, there's a songwriter, there's breaking it down like you're a surgeon. Then you're diving deeper into like its melody, the time schemes, and all the measurements and how it's supposed to be, like making sure it sounds like the full puzzle piece. And for me, the process has always been, I'm not going to say the same, because I do find myself kind of like changing throughout my processes because I have different processes when I'm writing a song. It always depends on the mood, I feel like. And for me, when I was just starting to write, I could write the entire day. I could write every day almost, where it's like I could write a whole song in 2 minutes and then I'm on to the next one. Now it's more like not writing what I've already wrote. So like, what's the process? How do I want to connect with my audience this way? Because there's only a few topics an artist can talk about. Mm-hmm. And there's so many artists out there already talking about those things. And you have to be careful. And I mean, so careful with the industry, because someone can just be like, hey, those are my lyrics. Or that's something I did, where it seems like it's the same. So for my music, I try to find something that I feel like I would just groove to. Mm-hmm. If it's a happy song, I try to like find the happiness in the beat. If it's a sad song, I try to like take my time with it, get every emotions or interactions that I ever experienced, and I use that in my song so it could be relatable. So it's a lot of ways I can write. Sometimes I'll take my time. I'll study the beat alone. Like when this instrument comes in, when the key changes, like I'm always listening, like where can I write it? And if it doesn't work, I'm like, okay, cut that lyric in half.
Yep.
So it's always a trial and error when writing. But now lately it has been a little trickier because I wrote over like 600 songs within my writing years. And like I said, there's so many artists out there, so many great artists and other upcoming artists like myself, where it's like we have to find ways where it's not the same.
Yeah.
I love my versatility in my music, and I want to make sure it speaks. So that's the process. It's just finding what flows.
Yeah. Yeah, and being able to find your unique voice and all that as well, which is a super big thing. And I know if you wrote that many songs, like that's got to be challenging. Once you hit probably like 100 songs, you're like, how do I keep recreating myself in these different ways? Yeah, and trying to find the right production as well. And I know we've had, like I said, through the work we've done, we've had those conversations as well, just working out the different songs that we've created and things like that. And I know as far as like your influences go and like people you've listened to coming up, I know just from our conversations, Michael Jackson is a huge influence on you. So talk about like, what does Michael Jackson mean to you, but what does some of your other influences mean to you as a fan of music?
Michael Jackson is very simple. Grandparents. A lot of elders in my life is kind of who I was influenced by. They would listen to genres and artists from the 70s to 90s. Michael Jackson happened to fit in one of those categories, and I heard him a lot with one of my grandparents. And I loved it so much where it became like a connecting thing between me and my grandparents. I would dress up with me and my cousin. We'll pretend like we're Michael Jackson. We're just singing out in the living room. We'll put on a little show. And even at school, one of my teachers did like a Room 5 Got Talent type thing. And it was one of my favorites. This is actually when I started to be like, I'm going to do music, mindset level. And that's when I would do more Michael Jackson impersonation. So I started becoming more serious about Michael Jackson, like so serious. I would be so protective over him. Like, don't talk bad about him. Like he was like my best friend or something. But it was because it's something that I grew up with, or I've grown an attachment towards. And it wasn't just, like, I couldn't explain, like, what it is that drawn me to him. I just know that growing up, music was it. His style of music was just, I remember playing Dirty Diana growing up a whole bunch of times. And there was another one, Hollywood, Bad, Dirty Diana, Black or White, like all majority of his new hit songs at that time was like on repeat for me, and I just couldn't seem to grasp, like, for a moment the lyrics were not the same when I would like just be singing out loud. So when I grew up I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I was saying. But looking back is like, I don't know, I couldn't tell you. It's just his music, it just spoke to me. Like I was always listening to the same songs, and those few on repeat, and it just within those few songs that we connected over, I just grew love for. And I did. Toni Braxton, over the years, she became lyrically my inspiration. Her and Babyface. Their music, lyrically, the emotions, the relatable connections that can be heard through the artist, through the audience, to the fan. And that was just speaking to me, just writing alone. I was already in the music world. The era of it, I fell in love with, but the writing aspect came kind of a little behind. So they definitely inspired me with music, like how I should view it overall.
Yeah, I've always felt like, because I was kind of the same way as far as hearing like certain types of music coming up just from my parents and my grandparents a little bit. So like my dad always listened to 80s music. And I would hear a lot of Michael Jackson stuff just from like him listening to 80s stuff. I always felt like Michael Jackson, like he's one of the artists that is going to just keep transcending different generations because his music is just timeless. You know what I mean? He just has so much timeless flavor in the music. So it's easy to see like why a lot of people are drawn to his stuff, because he just knew how to make like hits, honestly, and just really great stuff. So I forgot to ask you, like, before, how do you feel about that musical that's on Broadway, the Michael Jackson musical?
You know, one of my friends went to go see it, but I never had the opportunity to go view it. But from the clips that I've seen, it seemed very, I think I remember commenting on that clip. I was like, wow, it seems very, like, not too much playing his role. Like, it was just calm. It was very chill, very honorable. I would like to see it. I just, I do have like this thing, like I said, when I used to be very protective, where it's like, I love when there's a biography of an artist, but when there's more than one biography, and say like I said, if someone's overplaying the role, like making them seem like something they're not, then it's like it takes away their whole like persona. Like it just takes away the whole beauty of the actual person. You know, even though it's the actor or the actress, I'm still looking at it as this person, because you're supposed to be representing this person.
Exactly.
So normally I take it to heart, where it's like, well, I don't know if I like it, because I might find little pieces, or I'm like, well, he doesn't move like that. Like, just critique it. So I don't want to do that and take away someone else's art. But I would like to see the new one, yes.
For sure. Because I've definitely seen a lot of people talking about it. And I first heard about it a couple years ago. I had a guy that represents a lot of like talent, like for talent agencies and stuff. And he represented the main guy from the musical. Whoever, I don't know the actor's name, but whoever that is in the musical, like he represented him. And he told me about this musical before it even went on Broadway. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then over the last like year or so, I've seen people talking about it now that it's like officially out there. But yeah, I totally see where you're coming from, because it's like you don't want to have it like skewed, like how you are experiencing his music and just what he did. You don't want to have that kind of like tainted almost in that way. So yeah, I definitely see what you mean on that. And as far as like, you know, people you're working with either now or before, I like to have the guests give some shout outs of, you know, anybody you want to shout out, anybody that you've been working with, or like I said, that you've got connected with, or anybody that you feel has been important in your journey so far.
Definitely shout out to you. You're one of your beats when I first heard your beat. At that time, I was going through a lot of transitions. And as an independent artist, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for most of us when I say that it is really not easy. Like I said, as an independent artist, when you're kind of by yourself, because technically I am, the whole idea of what you're trying to do goes out the window, or it gets tainted by any means, because financial reasons come in. Then there's life throwing you at little curves. So there's a balance that has to be had with an independent artist when you're trying to be someone in this industry, especially as a songwriter, because not a lot of artists write their songs. It's pretty clear now. But there's not a lot of opportunities for songwriters that's just open, especially looking for management, or you're looking for an agency or something to represent you and you as an artist, as a brand. I don't want a lot out of return in my music industry. I want to give back more than anything with my talent and benefits, but I just know that the hurdles, it comes, and I shout out to those who have been supporting me, because the support, when it's so low, you appreciate it more. You've always been supporting me. Your beats have always encouraged me to even write more. Even at that time, I was like, wow, I wrote a song and it was decent enough for me to get back into it and be more motivated at that time. And since then, I've had 2 good friends that have been doing music. They haven't stopped. They got a little further than me because I got life, and they encouraged me. So I want to shout them out too. And my producers and engineers that I've worked with over the years, favorite playlist, BK Anderson did that one, and that was an amazing beat, because what originally happened was there was a beat that I actually liked before that one, and I found it years ago, and that favorite playlist actually was wrote like 2-3 years prior, before actually the original. And so he had to remake the entire beat, a new one, and it actually came out pretty well, as most people like it. But it was the fact that he was willing to work with me, because I had trouble with another producer, and I explained that to him. I was like, I'm just trying to make music. Like, I don't want any trouble. Like, I'm always reaching out to my producers to make sure, anything is paid. I'm always making sure that we're okay. And not just that, I'm trying to build like a family foundation, because like I said, I'm an independent artist. These are people I want to work with on a consistent basis. I'm pretty sure you give me any beat I can write to. But it's not that it's just a producer. Like, we're family. This song means a lot to me. You helped me make this song, pretty much. That's how I look at it. And as an independent artist, when you lose that inspiration, you have those few, you, like I said, you appreciate things more. So I definitely appreciate those who've been supporting me and been encouraging me more to get out there, even though I'm taking my time.
Hey there, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know about a couple different ways that you can support the podcast. One of the ways is by clicking that support the podcast button within your streaming platform. That is if you want to be a monthly supporter of the show. You can contribute either 99 cents, $5, or $10 a month. So that's the first way, and that's the more traditional way that we've had now for the last couple years. The other method that we actually just recently introduced is from our good friends over at Ko-fi. Ko-fi is a virtual tip jar. We have set our limit to a minimum of $10, but you can go make one-time, one-off donations. So if you visit ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast, you'll be able to donate. And all these different forms of donation go towards getting new guests every single week, getting potential sponsors on board to do giveaways, and overall just making the show better for you guys. So if you want to do that Ko-fi link, it's ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Otherwise, again, look for that support the podcast button in your streaming platform if you'd like to be a monthly supporter. And I just want to say thank you guys for your contributions. And without further ado, let's get back into the episode. For sure. Well, I gotta say, I'm happy to be a part of the journey that you're on. So thank you first of all, and thank BeatStars because that's like how we got connected. Because without
Yeah,
BeatStars, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. So it's kind of cool that we got connected in that way, and it's been super cool just to see like how everything's evolved even over the past couple years. Because I was thinking that the other day, I'm like, has it really been 2 years? Like it was like fall of 22 was like when we initially like started talking and got connected. So it just goes to show like you just never know who you're gonna meet, but then when you meet the right people, like you just cultivate those relationships, and then that can like go so long term for you as far as
yeah.
what you end up doing. So, but yeah, thank you for wanting me to be involved in what you do. Because I'm definitely honored. I'm definitely happy to be working with you. So
Thank you so much, and
yeah,
I'm glad you are a part of this. I'm very introverted, so a lot of times people find it interesting, even at my workplace. Like, wow, you're very outgoing. Like, there's a whole different side to me. And it's more of like I could be around you. Like, I'm not like going to disappoint you and you're in the presence of me. Like, you're not going to be bored. You're not going to feel disrespected or uncomfortable.
yeah.
I'm very warm, welcoming, and very, very sweet when it comes to meeting new people, or just in general, And I want to carry that as a person, and I feel like my music should show that too. And I try my hardest to, incorporate like happy music too, because most of my music's like R&B, like
Yeah.
love and sad, according to some of my listeners. But otherwise, it's more like now it's more versatile, with my new music for sure. And my dog's trying to give me a kiss. I'm like, what's the in my head?
That's more than allowed, honestly. So it's all good. But speaking of like spreading good vibes and good energy, I know another really important thing for you is like doing events in your community, giving back, doing charitable work. So talk a little bit about that because I think that stuff is super cool and super important as well. Like, what has that meant to you to be able to do that in the local community and beyond with your music, but just in general?
So I'm glad you actually brought that up. I have been, since 2021, I believe, 2022, the latest I'll say, I've been working on my entrepreneurship, which is a new nonprofit organization. Originally found its name was for Sublunar Ambitions Group Program. And then its meaning was to go over stars and reach our dreams. But now I've changed it to ambitions of peace and unity. And I'm using that as a concert fundraiser. So I will be hosting the concerts. I will be finding upcoming artists, which is to support them. I will be finding known artists to support, the cause, bring awareness. With a lot going on in the world, I've always felt the need to help in any form. I love helping people. I don't know why it is I do, but I always feel thrilled seeing someone being happy. And I feel like the world would be in a better state if they had like more things, more of what they lack in certain areas. We all lack in some area where we feel envious or we feel hate towards someone, or we feel the need to steal because we don't have. That's not how the world should be. We live in a system where we're forced to think these ways or do these things when it could be one life and a life that we enjoy. I want to give back to homeless people. I want to start off by giving like season packages for like clothing and for winter whenever it's needed, especially. I want to donate like certain things that they would need to survive outside. And I want the community to be involved doing this. I will be going to the cities that I feel most is needed, and I will go perform in those areas to raise awareness. And I will also donate to single women and families who need help with things like education and materials. providing resources throughout the local communities. Oh, oops. Providing resources from local communities, such as like restaurants that supports like donating food or something. Things like that I want incorporated into the fundraising concert, which is actually starting at $10. $10 and $10 bill is my favorite. I don't know why, but it's for the longest.
Yeah.
And 1003. So I was born in 03, and my saying for my fans is 1003. So whenever anyone's asking what does that mean, it just means I love the $10 bill and the year I was born, 1003. But $10 is where I'll be starting the concerts, and then it'll double each time. So $10 it would invest in like my music career, things that I have to pay for out of my own pocket. So like studio equipment or studio sessions or dancers, the outfits, the revenues, like things like that. That'll be the first investment. The double investment should be $20. Would be like the merch, or it'd be the food, which would go towards the actual nonprofit. So either way, it'd be a fundraiser, funding for these causes I care about. And the last cause I'm caring about is people with disabilities. So anyone who has a learning disability, anyone who has any type of physical disability, they're to have resources. I want to provide communities, to feel like they are being someone or useful or like they have something, and I want the community to feel a part of something good, doing something good. And there's a lot of organizations already out there doing these things. But I feel like with my nonprofit, there's no limit. I feel like a lot of organizations, even experiencing some of these causes that I care about, a lot of the organizations have, which I totally understand, but there's a limit where we have to, if it's like a curfew, sometimes it's people if they're living in a shelter, time to come in. Some people don't get opportunities to party. So if it's like a youth, maybe they want to have fun, like family friend time. They should be able to have like kind of like a shuttle, pretty much, where they can transport these things. So it's a lot that I'm putting into the organization, but I want it to be where it doesn't feel like it's limited or like I'm being helped, because some people don't like that. Like, oh, I don't want you blurting out, oh, you helped me. Some people are like that, unfortunately. But I want it to be an organization that they're proud of. One that's beneficial across the world, and just my music alone, uplifting. So that's the goal, is to give back to my community and other communities that I care about, and caring for these causes that I care about.
Yeah, that's great. It's great to hear, and it's great to hear the amount of detail you have already in it, too. Like how you thought about the little intricacies of it as well. And I know the possibilities are really endless for it and like where it can go moving forward as well. So congrats on that, because I think it's super, super important.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And is there any way that anybody can get involved today? Is there any website or any way they could get in contact with you to help out?
So there is, in my bio, there's a couple of links. There's one specifically for Linktree. That will take you to the portal of like maybe like tour days whenever I go on tour. It'd be volunteers welcome. Like it'd have like that form, and they'll also have a form for like merch. It'll have a form for how can I be a part of the organization, things like that. It'd be a separate indication where you can message me.
Awesome.
The overall goal is that we are connected.
Awesome. Sounds great. And everybody out there, definitely keep that in mind, and feel free to get in touch with her for sure. And what's your Instagram handle? Don't forget that as well. Instagram handle.
So it's a little tricky, but it's very simple. So it's all lowercase, L.O.E, and then underscore, which is actually a space, and then it's TB. And it just pretty much says love over everything, trust, believes. Because a lot of people come to me, why have you a username like that? And I'm like, it means something. I thought I had it descriptive, but I'm not sure if it's up there or not still. But it means love over everything and trust beliefs.
Yeah. Incredible acronym. So, but definitely everybody out there listening, definitely go get in touch and see how you can get involved. So, but before we get out of here, I do have one more question, and this being one of the last episodes of 2024, I'd love to know, what would you say you were most grateful for in 2024, and what do you think you're looking forward to the most going into the new year in 2025?
I would say I am most grateful for living another day and in my own space and with my crazy dog. And moving into the new year, I am hoping that I can gain a new amount of listeners with my new project coming out 2020. Oh, actually, no, this year, end of this year, actually. So stay tuned for that. We're aiming for 12/12. Would actually be my single from the album. And the album will actually be released coming next year, early next year. But yes, I'm hoping with next year there are new listeners because there's different styles on this album. But I'm hoping because I'm putting most of my all into this, and I hope it goes the right way.
Yeah, for sure. And do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Be patient, and remember, butterflies, they change too. So it's okay to have a little change in your day-to-day life because they're a good reminder of it. And I love butterflies. It reminds me of peace. So be at peace, everybody.
Awesome. Love that. Well, I got to say again, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know we talked about it for a bit, and I'm glad we finally made it happen. And like I said, thank you again for, allowing me to be a part of your process and what you do. And I know we're going to keep working on stuff and figuring it out and just keep going. But yeah, I got to say, congrats on what you've done so far and what you're going to keep doing. And any way I can be involved, I'm always down. So thank you again.
So much. No worries at all. And I'm stoked. This is the last episode of the year.
Yeah, second to the last one. So
part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have to do a part 2 soon. So.
Oh, yes.
For sure. Thanks, everyone, for listening today. That was episode 235. We'll be back this time next week for the final episode of 2024. But as always, make sure to tune in on Tuesdays on twitch.tv/AnthonyChurch24 for more exclusive content. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thanks as always for tuning in.